Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. In today's video, we're going to be making some holiday themed wax melts. Wax melts are concentrated little pieces of wax that you place into an electric warmer and it melts it down and fills the room with fragrance. Some people prefer these to candles because they're flameless and you don't have to commit to one giant sized candle. You can change out the fragrances a lot because they're just little pieces of wax. They last for several hours and they're just a nice popular option. They're great for shipping because they don't weigh very much. You guys are probably familiar with my other wax melt tutorial videos. I have several of them now. Feel free to check them out. Lately, I've been getting lots of requests to make a wax melt using a different type of wax than my regular go-to wax. You guys know that I really like using the Pillar of Bliss wax from Nature's Garden, but I get a lot of questions regarding, can I use a different type of wax? And the answer is yes. So today we're going to be using a different type of wax than I normally use for the wax melts. And it's a wax that's fairly new to me. I have been doing a little bit of testing with it. It is from Cierra Candles. I learned about it on my recent trip up there to their store, and I saw it and I decided to go ahead and buy it and give it a try. It's called BW921. It's pillar wax. So basically what that means is this is the type of wax that you would use in a candle mold, like a pillar, or if you want to make tarts out of it, where you can easily pop the wax out of the mold once it's cooled off. The nice thing about this wax is it is fully 100% soy wax, which is something you guys have asked me about a lot with regards to wax melts. We are also going to be using some mica colorant today and some cosmetic grade glitter to decorate our wax melts. This is a bit of an experiment for me today because, like I said earlier, I am very new to this type of wax. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my testing and my process. I'm going to be giving you also the recipe with the measurements of wax to color to fragrance ratio. I will also be posting this as a full written tutorial in sort of a blog style format because we're not exactly sure of the results with this combination yet. I will be posting all of that into my Patreon campaign. There's a ton to take advantage of over on the campaign. There are 2.5 years of archived recipes, including all of my wax melts, recipes, and tutorials. You can access all of those things for just one small $5 pledge. In addition to the $5 tier where you can access recipes and tutorials, I have 5 other tiers on there for you to take advantage of that each have their own exclusive benefits and rewards. I hope you'll check it out. I'll go ahead and put the link in the description box below and head on over there for all the great stuff. All right, let's make some holiday themed wax melts. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is go ahead and prepare these silicone molds. These are rectangular in shape and they have these cute little diamond or triangle impressions in them, and they make a really cute wax melt. However, they were rather expensive for what they are, and I would have preferred that there would be, 8 to 1 tray versus the 4 to 1 tray. So for what they were kind of expensive. However, they do release very easily and they are a cute shape. So what I'm going to do with these is go ahead and place some glitter into the bottom of the mold. I think I'm only going to need 2 of these. I have been experimenting a little bit with this wax and I think I'm only going to need 2 of these for test purposes. So I'm going to go ahead and place a little bit of this glitter. This is Silver Rainbow Eco Glitter from Fizz Fairy. Very pretty. And I'm just going to go ahead and line 2 of these molds with this Eco Glitter. If I need to pour, if I have more wax, I'll go ahead and sprinkle a little bit more glitter before I pour. But we're just preparing with this beautiful kind of silvery rainbow glitter. You could use any type of glitter that you like. Anything will work. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and weigh out our wax. So I'm going to go ahead and move these aside and bring you right back. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just place my pour pitcher on top of my scale. And then I'm gonna be weighing off 8 ounces of this pillar wax. Directly into the pour pitcher. Okay, so a note when you are testing out new fragrances and new wax, make little batches. That way you're not wasting a bunch of product trying to figure out what works best for you. Weigh out small amounts and test with small amounts. So I find when I'm using mica colorants with the wax melts that it's easier to add the color before you start melting everything down. So the next thing we're going to do to this is go ahead and add in some color. Now typically when I use liquid candle dye, you guys have seen me do that often, I just place the candle dye into the melted wax. But today I'm going to be sharing with you how I use mica colorants with wax melts. You guys have been asking me a lot about how to use mica colorants in candles, and that is something that I've done a little bit by sprinkling it on the top. I have never dyed my candles with mica colorants. That's something that I might be trying soon. However, I have used mica colorants in wax melts, and this is how I do it. So today we're going to be using Laurel Green. Now, if you're not familiar with a mica colorant, they're powdered colors that are made for soaps and cosmetics. The reason why they look nice in wax is because they don't totally break down in the wax. Actually, they just disperse in the wax. So I'll show you what the mica looks like. It's very shimmery and it's got hints of like gold. And when it's dispersed in the wax, it looks really beautiful. As the wax is melting, you pick up all that shimmer and light. And so it is a nice thing to add to wax melts, and something a little bit more unique than just plain candle dye. And it doesn't affect the wax melt's performance at all. So, like I said, this is not gonna break down in the wax. It's simply gonna get dispersed in the wax. So I'm using, probably about a quarter of a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more than that, half a teaspoon of the Laurel Green. I'll probably add a little bit more of that. Also, if you use too much mica in your wax, it's heavy and it doesn't break down, so it can sink to the bottom. So you just want to be careful you're not using too much. To brighten up that Laurel Green a little bit, I'm going to be using a tiny bit of the Force of Nature. It's kind of a neon green and doesn't have a lot of those light or gold pigments I was sharing with you earlier. But I do want to kind of brighten up this Laurel Green just a little bit, so I'll be adding in about a quarter of a teaspoon of the Force of Nature. This is what it looks like before it's melted down. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop this on the stove and warm it up. The directions for this type of wax in particular says to heat the soy wax up to 185 degrees until the wax is fully melted, and then to add your fragrance in right away. I have been experimenting a little bit with the temperature and how much to use, and today I'm going to follow the directions completely on how hot to add the fragrance in. So I'll be heating this up to 185 degrees, and then I'll be adding in the fragrance as soon as it comes off the stove. It also says that we can add 6 to 10% fragrance oil. And I have been experimenting with this, and I know it can take up to 12% fragrance oil with no issue. So that is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be adding in 12% fragrance to this once everything is melted down. So I'll bring you back when we're ready for the next step, after all of this is melted down. Okay, so everything has been melted down. I just want to show you what that looks like and why people really like to use the mica colorants in the wax melts, because when it's melted down, it just has this beautiful shimmery look to it. So it's sitting right at 185 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and just take another quick little temperature read here. Perfect. And then that's when you're supposed to add the fragrance. So today we're using a fragrance oil called Elf Sweat. super cute name. It's from Nature's Garden and it smells really good. It's not your typical kind of holiday fragrance. However, it's very festive. It's bubbly, it's effervescent. It also has top notes of like, oh, candy, peppermint, candy canes. It's got some citrus notes to it, a little bit of cinnamon, very unique and festive for the holidays, and something a little bit different than your typical, oh, evergreen or Christmas type fragrance. This is unique, so I'm hoping it works very well in the wax melts because it's not one you see everywhere. So in the directions also it says to stir very gently for 2 full minutes. With soy wax, I have seen and followed those directions with lots of other types of soy waxes before, so it does say to give this a good stir for 2 full minutes and then to allow the wax to get down into the 170-degree range, plus or minus 5 degrees before pouring it. So we're just going to go ahead and give this a nice stir for 2 minutes, and then I will bring you right back when we're ready to go ahead and pour this into our molds. Okay, so we are now ready to go ahead and pour these into our cute little molds here, lined with glitter. And there you go. Okay, these are all poured now, and I'm going to go ahead and allow them to sit for several hours before I unmold them. So I'll bring you back probably tomorrow when I go ahead and unmold them, and then we'll also do a quick test of how these smell and what the fragrance throw is like. Now, this does say that it needs to cure for 2 weeks for optimal fragrance throw, which is fairly typical for soy or blended type waxes. So we're going to do an initial test after about 24 hours, and I'll give you my initial findings on that. And usually you can get a good idea at the 24-hour mark if it's going to be a very strong candle or not candle, wax melts or candle. And so I'll be bringing you back when we're ready to pop these out and test them in a wax warmer. All right, everybody, these have been in the mold now for 24 hours and we're ready to pop them out and test them in the wax warmer. As you can see, there's a little bit of discoloration or frosting on here, and that could just happen sometimes with soy wax and when you add color and things like that. Different additives will react with soy wax sometimes and cause that look, but not a big deal. So we are gonna go ahead and just pop these out. Super pretty. Really like how the color came out, and I love the little silver sparkles. And I will go ahead and put a link to this mold in the description box. I do like how easily they release from the mold. So the cold throw is really strong. It smells citrusy and kind of like candy canes and a little bit vanilla. It's a really nice fragrance. It's got effervescence to it. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take a couple squares over to the wax warmer and do a little test. Okay, I've got my wax warmer warming up here. It just plugs into the wall. We're just gonna go ahead and break this rectangle up into little chunks. It snaps easily. We're gonna place the chunks in there, and I'm probably not going to use a full second rectangle, but I do want to create sort of a deep melt pool here, just to see what the fragrance is like when it's completely melted down and a little bit. So we're just going to go ahead and let this melt down, and then I'll bring you back for an update. All right, so this wax has been melting down and warming now for about an hour, and I just wanted to give you an update. It looks really beautiful with the wax and the mica kind of swirling around in the wax. That green mica has a little bit of a gold shimmer to it. It's really pretty. You can see some of those silver glitter sprinkles that we put in there, but most of those have sunk to the bottom by now, but it looks really beautiful. And I would consider the scent throw after the initial 24 hours to be pretty strong, actually. So I think this is a really good combination of wax and fragrance to use. Like I said to you a little bit ago, I have been testing this wax behind the scenes with just different fragrance loads and different types of fragrance, and this one has been the best so far. Now, we did follow the manufacturer's directions to a T with regards to temperature and adding the fragrance at the right temperature and the stirring directions. The only thing we strayed from a little bit was how much fragrance to put in. We did go above that maximum fragrance load. The recommended fragrance load is up to 10%, and we did add 12% fragrance, but I have been testing behind the scenes, and I do know that this wax, for wax melts at least, can hold 12%, and I think for this combination it does it justice. So it's got a strong scent throw, it's filling the room, and it's going down the hallway of my house, which I consider that to be a strong fragrance. And I think actually it's a pretty unique one for the holidays because it's very festive and bubbly, and you kind of pick up those candy cane notes, and the top citrus notes are not fleeting, and you can still pick up the top kind of citrus carbonation notes. So it's really nice. I would consider this to be a great success, and I am curious to see how these smell after a 2-week cure, because remember, this wax does take 2 weeks to get a fully developed cure. So I'll be interested to see what that smells like after 2 weeks. But so far I'm very impressed, and I would definitely make this again. All right, everybody, well, that concludes today's video on how to use 100% soy wax for your wax melts along with mica and glitter. I hope you really liked it. If you did, please remember to give this video a thumbs up. Please leave a comment or question below. Please share this video with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. All right, catch you on the next video. Bye. Keep shining.